Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boys Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Or whatever.
How about this, Cowboys?
What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Jersey Boys Podcast on a new day. It is Monday. It is Dave Sturchio alongside the Grinch, America's fan himself, Keith Ernst. We'll obviously get into all the fun that was another Sunday in Cowboysville. But first and foremost, like I said, I want to let everybody know that we are on Chop Sports Media primarily and only solo on Chop Sports Media going forward. And yeah, that's the only update I got for you guys out there, all the listeners. And of course, you can download the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Keith, so one, I'm you for saying we were going to win, first and foremost. But I guess your first reactions, as we always do, we kind of just knee-jerk this thing as we go in. I got all the stats to my left. I got a lot of stuff we can dive into as we go along. The only breaking news that's happening right now is that Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb both getting their MRIs done. So we'll figure out, the length of their injuries or their extent of their injuries. But it might, I don't know. I got this feeling it's going to be some long-term bullshit that we're just going to have to deal with. But Keith, start us off. How do you feel about yesterday's game?
Well, I want to let everyone know. I think it was in the third quarter. I think it was Dak's 7th or 8th check down pass that he threw. That was when I booked my ticket to the Super Bowl this year.
Oh,
like I knew we were going because he was lighting it up out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Listen,
against one of the worst defenses in the NFL next to ours. So yeah, that's my first. My initial reaction.
So Dink and Dak is back from 2016.
But I will say, if we had solid quarterback play, we could have won that game, which I thought was going to happen. I didn't think Dak was going to have 3 bad games in a row. And let's make one thing clear, because you don't throw an interception doesn't mean you had a good game. Okay.
Fair.
You throw for 115 or 120 yards or 130 yards, whatever it was. I don't know.
133.
133. And in the fourth quarter, you're already in the fourth quarter. And a lot of people aren't even bringing up his pass is what got CeeDee Lamb hurt. I mean, the way he threw it up there, I mean, he's lucky Rico Dowdle pulled that ball down. He was off, dude. He was off. And he's been off the last 3 weeks. So I am blaming. I take it back, and I put this in a text. In order, I blame coaching, Dak, and I'm still giving the defense a pass. I'm sorry.
I think it's easy to give the defense a little bit of a pass, considering that, yes, they're down pretty much all their edge rushers. They are down one of their premier corners. My dad was saying it yesterday, and I agreed. I said, by this time last year, we had like 6 pick sixes already, all these takeaways and shit. We had all that last year. We had it under the Dan Quinn regime. And of course, shout out to Dan Quinn doing his thing over there in Washington. And, we could dive into that another time. But yeah, you can't stack it all on the defense, the short fields, the coaching. I'll say this about Dak Prescott. We were clamoring for him to use his legs. We were yelling from the mountaintops, please start to run. And he did that. He actually did use his legs a little bit, but all the while, this is what happens when you use your legs and you don't use your legs pretty much throughout the course of the year. Dak comes up limp with a hamstring injury that might sideline him for some time. Now, Cooper Rush, 13 for 25, $115 with a touchdown. And just so everybody's clear, 18 for 24 out of Dak, 133 and a touchdown. So very, very similar numbers. And I said to you guys in a text, and this is not me just coming after Dak. This is me saying, like, sometimes Cooper Rush does look like a more polished thrower of the football. Like, there's a little bit more zip on it. And I'm not saying he's better than Dak, because I don't think he is. I truly don't think that. But I will say, in some regards, you're looking at Cooper Rush and you're like, okay, this is a competent quarterback. We saw what Cooper Rush can do. It's not like it's breaking news. We know he can win football games in the NFL. Not preseason games, regular season games. We know it. Last night, it gives us another opportunity to hang on to this coaching staff one more week because of the fact that they made it competitive. Cooper Rush went out there and didn't shit the bed. He didn't throw picks. He didn't fumble all over the place. He did fumble it back to himself, but again, these are things that happen, right? But with Dak Prescott getting hurt, not knowing the extent of it as of right this second, it's not. I put out a tweet yesterday, Keith, and it got a lot of traction. I said, hot take, Dak's not hurt. Like, Dak's not hurt. This was them. The game was getting away from them, and there was an injury on his hand or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Like, maybe there's no. And then he doubled down on.
Did you do that before the hamstring? You saw the hamstring thing?
Yeah.
I was going to say, because we thought it was his hand, but you saw when he threw that ball, he pulled his hamstring.
He did something, and it looked weird, like his whole facial thing. But like, my joke was like, yeah, he's not hurt. This is Jerry just protecting his investment because look, they left Zeke on the plane, which we can get into, at some point in the show today.
Mm-hmm.
But they basically told him stay in Dallas. And
you know what's funny though? That pass he pulled his hamstring on was a completion, and what I thought, if he didn't pull his hamstring, I think it would have been a pick six. Greg Olsen and the other, whatever the other guy's name was, they said that. They're like, I thought this was going to be a pick six at first, but the ball kind of broke. And the way when he threw it, his hamstring went, so the ball went lopsided to where it went into a catchable area.
That's all we got to do is we got to just injure ourselves while trying to just pull hamstrings, and we got some accurate passing.
Thing I want to say about Cooper, and I know what you said, how the game was getting out of hand, and it's protecting the coaching staff. It shouldn't protect the coaching staff. I'm sorry.
I agree.
How did you word that? What did you say? You said
no.
that,
I'm just saying
we pulled it close, so they didn't.
Yeah, the idea is we can't. We're not getting the doors blown off us because we're making it competitive at the end, and that's what's saving this guy.
It is, but the misconception, and I argued with people, of course, on social media about this, is they said Cooper Rush did this in garbage time. It wasn't garbage time. There was 7-8 minutes left. I think there was maybe 6 minutes left when CeeDee Lamb dropped that bucket dime that Cooper Rush threw to him in the end zone. We were still in the game. That's not garbage time.
I don't think any of this stuff was garbage time.
But I'm just saying, people are saying, Cooper Rush got his stats in garbage time. No, that's sick. Maybe the last drive, I'll say, where he scored. And by the way, that was another great catch by Tolbert. And I'll tell you, the problem in the game, all right, what bothered me the most, and this is why I'm putting it on the offense, okay? And you sent it in a text. I saw it too, Sturch. This Atlanta Falcon team had 6 sacks coming into this game. That's it, okay? They managed to get to Dak 2 times in a row, and both of those times, he held on to the ball too long. And the reason he held on to the ball too long is because he's afraid to throw downfield because he doesn't want to throw an interception. That's why all of his passes were checked out. I don't think he stretched it. Maybe once I saw him go deep. I think he did once.
I don't know if he did.
Tolbert. He went once, and Tolbert went up and tried to make the catch. It wasn't a great pass, but most of his passes were all checkdowns. So I meant, that right there fell into Atlanta's defense, because their defense has not, that's been their weakest point. Their strongest point's been their offense.
What, you talking about Atlanta?
Kirk Cousins is having a field day. And here, dude, Atlanta punted 5 times. Okay. 5 times. And if you look at the, our defense, all right, 2 touchdowns were 2 of those touchdowns came on short fields for Atlanta because of our going for it on 4th down with the stupid sweep.
Listen,
and the dumb that fake punt was worse than the sweep, bro. That was just stupid.
It's pretty simple to me. If you planned on, again, is it the element of surprise? Yeah, it is, because nobody's expecting it, right? Nobody is. But your best play on a fake punt was to have Brian Anger, the punter, throw a ball to not even a receiver, to CJ Goodwin, who wasn't even running a route. Like it looked like he didn't even know there was going to be a fake at this point. That's how bad that route was. That move, that decision to throw a fake punt in there when you know our defense is so badly hurt, I want to say, like, and we just don't have the guys, that is an indictment, a fireable offense.
I agree.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, Mike, what did you think was going to happen? Like, your punter is throwing the football. What did you actually think was going to come of that? Like, that's not. And again, other teams have done it. I've seen it. It's all great, grand, wonderful, but not this team, and not with this defense. That worst case scenario. Same thing with the jet sweep that went nowhere. The worst case scenario, you bring your stars back out there, and it's Micah and it's DeMarcus Lawrence and all these guys, and they'll try to hold them to a field. That's not who we have out there. Yeah. We got no pass rush whatsoever outside of Carl Lawson, who had himself a decent game. But it's like, what was your end goal there? Like, I just, again, man, it's one of those things where it's like, and we've said it the entire McCarthy regime, even when Garrett was here, it's like you think you're the smartest guy in the room. You think you're going to fool everybody and come up with some innovative bullshit, and it bit you in the ass. I can't remember the last time, and Keith, you would probably know more than me, just because you're the Rain Man of this group. Like, I don't know when the last time we converted a fake punt. You know what I mean? Like, that's to me, it's just silly.
I would say with the thing, and I agree, and the reason why this falls on coaching is what you just said. You got to look at risk versus reward, right? And the risk with our defense, I mean, and they held Atlanta, like I said, to 10 points in the first half. Already they had a short
14, but yeah.
Oh, sorry, 14.
Yeah.
They already had a short field they had to deal with. You know what I mean? So I mean, now you're giving them another one opening the second half. After, I mean, it just doesn't make, why would you even attempt? I don't care if there was a 95, 98% chance you could get that play. I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it on 4th and 2 or 4th in our territory. Just punt the fucking ball.
Right.
Don't give them an opportunity to go up 21-7.
Right.
Just don't.
And there's so many instances yesterday where it's like, the primary job for a head coach, and I guess it's a little bit more on Mike McCarthy because of the fact that he calls the plays on offense too. He works with Brian Schottenheimer, and you know what it is? How long you've even heard the name Brian Schottenheimer? You've heard his name forever. You've heard Mike McCarthy's name forever. This is not a young, innovative offense. This is old school. I'm going to run off tackle and see what best we can do and run a couple hitch routes and shit. It's not innovative. It ain't the Detroit Lions, who, again, Ben Johnson, 2025, would love it. Just don't see it because that's not our MO. But there were so many things what the head coach is responsible for. And one is to get your boys ready, right? And discipline these guys. The discipline started in this week, and I thought it was actually a good thing. When Zeke was left behind for disciplinary action, for missing meetings, and whatever the fuck he's got going on, I was like, you know what? Like, as much as I love Zeke, and I'm, you ask anybody, I'm the biggest Zeke guy in the world, but like, as much as I love it, it felt like, okay, all right, Mike, you see something, you see a negative in the locker room, you tell him to stay home. I kind of felt like, okay, maybe this is something that we can read into later, but also read into the fact that Mike McCarthy was laying down the law a little bit, right? Because Jerry Jones is out there saying, no, Zeke's got to play. He's our guy. And Mike's like, nah. Like, he fucked up this time. Leave his ass at home. So it's like, okay, fine. But then you get to the game. They defer the coin toss, right? And you're like, okay, because we talked about it last week, Keith. Like, let's stop getting the ball if we're not going to score, right? Let's just wait to the second half. Keith, what was the first thing that happened when we got the ball in the second half? The first thing.
What do you mean the first thing?
The first play of the second half. What was it?
It was a penalty.
False start. Like that's the kind of shit that you cannot do to start the fucking half. Like, it's one of those things. It's discipline. It's just people, and it's just the same shit. And it's always the same shit. I'm like, why is it that our team, and look, it happens across the league. I'm not about to be like, the Cowboys are the only team to jump off, false starts and shit. I get it. They're not. But when it's this, and it rains, and it pours, and all the shit that's happening with the Cowboys, the one thing you needed to do was start the second half off hot. You were down 4. Everything was fine. It was all in front of you. Were you playing a clean game? No, not by any means. And there's some bad touchdowns given up along the way. But to jump off the first fucking play, I'm like, I kind of like looked at my dad. I was like, dude, like, come on. Like it's one of those things where you're just like, you're exhaling now and you're just like, okay.
Yeah,
like,
this
what's
is
next?
all the false, what they were saying, the preset penalties.
Pre-snap penalty, yeah.
That's what Olsen, and they kept throwing the stats up there of the preset penalties that were killing us. And I lost track. And yes, that is on coaching. That's all on coaching and having the team disciplined and prepared. Okay. Dalvin Cook still being out there, not knowing when there's 12 people on the field. That was another one that fucking killed us. Killed
Fourth
the
and
drive.
fucking
that kind of
inches.
stuff is all coaching. It's coaching, and that he's lost the team in that aspect. Okay. So yeah. And also defensively, I don't know how you come out of a timeout and Trayvon Diggs doesn't know where the hell he's going on that bomb that
Coaching.
Cousins.
It wasn't even a bomb. It was
Trayvon. Trayvon's angles that he takes, they're awful. Oh, the first run of the game, the very first run of the game, Robinson goes to the right, and Diggs is he's running to the right. So Diggs is on his left, Robinson's left. Instead of shooting in and tackling, he lets him reverse fields and run. And Diggs is doing a pursuit angle before he even crosses the line. I mean, as a defensive player, he should have had a 4 or 5 yard loss from the beginning because Diggs had an open lane to hit him. He let him turn around. So I mean, and then that play that like I said, I brought up where he's like, I don't know where to go, and then he runs into his own players. That's fucking awful, dude.
The fact that Malik Hooker was on the line and you have Trayvon Diggs lined up like a safety. He's out of position. He's not even remotely where he needs to be. And then they run the mesh concept. And you know what's funny? This is what good quarterbacks do. Kirk Cousins saw Diggs way out of position and was like, what the fuck is he doing? And he's like, you know what? If I just call one thing here and there's a mesh, a little like clusterfuck, somebody's going to run wide open. And that's exactly what happened. You called it from the fucking jump. You knew it was going to happen. And the play, when Ray McLeod fucking catches a touchdown by himself, I said, when he moved into motion and nobody was there to cover him, I get zone. Don't talk to me about like, no, it's a zone, dude. Like, blah, blah, blah. I get all that. But when I saw Ray go into fucking motion and saw nobody on him, nobody, and I was like, he's going to score. He loses frame. You don't even see where Ray is. And then the ball's thrown up, and I'm like, oh, there's Ray McLeod just chilling there. Touchdown. Yeah. And I'm like, that is coaching. Look, the New Orleans Saints today fired their head coach. They said, enough's enough. You lost to Carolina now. You're done. And that's a team that throttled the Cowboys. And I was just like, what is that team? But that's two teams in the NFL, the Jets being one, the Saints being two, that fire their coaches midway through the season when the wheels are falling off. If this isn't the wheels falling off right now, what is? You potentially lost your quarterback. You potentially lost your number one receiver. You don't have a running game. So what else does it have to be, Keith?
So the only thing I can say, and it's funny, like I bet with McCarthy, those 4th down calls, the punt was fucking awful. That's all awful. But maybe, when I keep bringing this up, maybe our players just aren't that football smart. Maybe this all falls on the GM once again, the players he's bringing in. I know we're blaming. We keep having coaches circling. I mean, look at Campbell now. Campbell, everybody wanted him out, including me, after the Green Bay game. I'm not going to lie. But was it him?
Campbell?
Or was it our players?
You're talking about Quinn.
I'm sorry, Quinn.
Okay, sorry.
All right. Yeah, my bad. No.
You're thinking of good coaches. That's silly.
Yeah, my bad. But everybody, I mean, Quinn is our defensive coordinator. Everybody wanted him out, including me, in the Green Bay game. And maybe, maybe he had the right scheme. Our players just didn't grasp it. That's why they were out of place. Because that's what you just said with the McLeod thing is a good point. Like, maybe they're just not, I don't know.
Yeah, because
you
can have
more than just talent. When you get to the NFL, it's more than just talent.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I was just going to say, you can have all the talent in the world.
Exactly.
But
so I meant, so that's how I'm looking at it too. So Yeah, and I can't. I think altogether, I mean, it's a mess right now. It is. I mean, coaching isn't helping because that's when your coaches should be able to step up. I just don't know, man. The whole thing's a mess. The whole thing's a mess.
It is an absolute mess. And like, where is the end in sight? Like, the Cowboys are 3-5. And I made a reference on Twitter as a joke. I screenshotted. I went on old Wikipedia. I screenshotted the 2018 Cowboys. They started off 3-5, right? And things looked very bleak. Things looked shitty. In which they rattled off and they finished 10-6. So they went 7-1 the rest of the way. Now, in front of them was not the Eagles that are playing this year, was not the Texans, was not the Redskins, like all those other teams. Like, matter of fact, we actually beat the Eagles to start that run the following week, which is even like I'm like, oh, well, shit, Philly's on deck, right? So it's all like kind of looking like that. And Jerry Jones has this weird obsession with deadlines. Like, when Dak has a deadline for a contract, things get done. When CeeDee Lamb, done, right? All these deadlines. Now the trade deadline is literally 24 hours away, right? And he's like, oh, we got some stuff cooking up. Yeah. Keith, is there one single or two single players that can change the face of this team right now? No, right?
No. And that 2018 team, you said the difference between that team and this team is our defense is playing very, very well.
Correct.
I mean, we beat the Saints were undefeated, and I think they came to us on a Thursday night in Dallas, and we beat them like 10-6 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference between, that's getting into. You want to talk about sorry, I was going to get into something else, but you want to talk about trades? I don't know. I mean, no. I'll tell you what can help us, not us trading for a player, but us trading some of our players maybe for draft picks.
So you want to be a seller?
And I'll be honest with you, and I know you don't like it, and people don't want to hear this. I'm willing to trade Dak right now. I'm over it.
All right, so there has been
He's not going to win me over again. I'm done. And once again, I said he got cockeyed. I sent the text. I'm done with him as a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. Okay, it takes a lot to be the Dallas Cowboy quarterback. I think maybe if he goes somewhere else, maybe he'll have a better career. This is not the place for him. It's just not. Okay. I've never seen somebody so inconsistent. And when I say that, it's in spurts. It's not like one game. You have one bad game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's had 3 bad games. You go back when he has bad games, there's a mode that's going, and I don't know what's going on through his head. I don't know. And it could be something that he doesn't discuss with anybody. It could be maybe, because there are mental health is a serious issue. Okay. And I'm not saying that he's crazy, but I'm saying there could be something there. Could be I don't know. Depression.
Well, I don't know. Listen, we all know the story, right? But now you add to the elements of the story, and I'm not, again, if I'll be the last one to discuss a man's personal life, but he got engaged. He's got a kid now. He's got a brand new house. These are things that are like, look, man, look at me and you, right? If something cosmic happens, like whether we get married or have another kid or whatever, like, shit will
But honestly, my friend, this has been happening before he had his wife.
No, I got it. But what I'm saying is shit does happen, and we don't have control of it.
But I don't. I mean, I'm getting into another. When I start talking about mental illness and stuff, I'm going into a different
it's not
category,
right?
Where I can't. I'm just saying, but you can't. When it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. If you have a mental illness, it comes in waves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
mm-hmm.
And, depression, it comes in waves. So it's not something where it can. If something happens in your life, it can obviously participate. But I'm saying people that really suffer from that stuff, they could be on top of the mountain, and out of nowhere they just get hit. So, and I can just see there's a change in him a lot, man.
Yeah,
there's a change in Dak's personality. Now, this is pure speculation because I don't understand how somebody can look so fucking good. And then for a good amount, for a few weeks or whatever it may be, look like utter shit, like just the complete opposite, man. I don't know, but yes, I would look into trading Dak. That's what I would do.
Well,
and
listen,
I know it sounds crazy.
It doesn't sound. Look, and here's what I'll say about the trade Dak stuff. when fans are at their most frustrated, yeah, the first thing you want to do is ship off everything that you have right now because nothing's changing. I said it last night. I said I would get rid of every single person on that defense outside of Overshawn right now and start all over. I would. I really would. And I'm talking about Micah, and I'm talking about those guys. People are coming at me like, well, J. Lou's been playing good. Yeah, fine. J. Lou's been playing good. But again, these guys are not, they're not it, right? So when it comes to Dak and trading your franchise quarterback, it doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen in the NFL. But then you start to think like, well, does it? Because last year, when Sean Payton couldn't get along with Russell Wilson and they paid him all that money, and they're like, I don't give a fuck how much dead money this is. Get him off the team.
Exactly.
And he's gone. And he's doing his thing in Pittsburgh. Whatever that plays out, we don't know. But Sean Payton knew what he wanted, and now he's got Bo Nix, a kid that he can potentially groom into something that he wants, maybe another Drew Brees type of quarterback, right? Who knows? We can't say it now. But what I'm saying is there was a team once upon a time that was able to just eat all that dead cap and say, I don't give a shit. We got to start over. Right? Do I think the Cowboys are there? No, I don't think they're there. But it's not out of the 100% possibility that it could happen. We've seen it. Now, who do you trade away outside of Dak? Like, you're over Dak. I'm still kind of like, I don't know about this yet because I really like the kid, and it's just like you want him to succeed so bad, and he just can't get it done. I know. And it's stupid of me because I, for whatever reason, clamor onto these guys as if they're like my friends and they're like my best buddies. Like, oh no, we gotta have Zeke. Like, he's the man. Bro. He's so fun, like. But at the end of the day, it is a business. And if you look around the league at the teams that are doing very well right now, it's because they either A, have a hybrid quarterback a la Josh Allen, a la Lamar Jackson, who can do it all, right? Or they have somebody that is just a leader of men and could just fucking take on the media. Like Dak Prescott yesterday, and I'll bring this up now, Keith, and I'm sure you saw the video because I showed it to you. There was Fox zoomed in on him talking to Trey Lance, and he decided to say, simply, we fucking suck. We fucking suck.
Which brings up my point before.
And if
that's on Dak-like.
That's very on Dak-like.
That's why I'm bringing the stuff up I'm bringing. His personality changes. He changes. Now, I want to go back to the what you were saying real quick. The franchise quarterbacks. Don't forget about Baker Mayfield and Derek Carr. Okay, both of them were traded away, and their contracts were traded away.
Well, their contracts were traded away, so it's a matter of
what I want. So I'm
if you're gonna
pick up Dak's contract,
if you're gonna trade Dak, yes, please take the contract with you.
Obviously,
clearly.
But you got to think, well, Cooper.
But you can. There's so much guaranteed fucking money.
Is it that far off, really? Cooper Rush making what, $8-9 million a year right now to Dak's $35 million. Is there that much of a difference of a greatness of quarterback that we're seeing, especially these last few weeks?
I think we're about to find out.
I mean, we found out before.
No, it's a little different now because if you think
about
it,
way different. Yeah, that's what I want to clear up too. Okay, no, Cooper Rush isn't the answer. Okay, he's not the answer. But I don't know who the fuck is the answer when you're struggling on defense so much. Okay, and like I said, our defense stepped up this last game, and I stand by. If Cooper Rush started that game, we win. And I really believe that. And mostly because of he was having time in the pocket. He would have found those downfield receivers. I mean, Jalen Tolbert running that wheel, and Dak just tucks it and gets scared.
Not seeing
that was awful. That was awful. But anyways, so you can be able to trade. I mean, trading Dak, but outside of Dak, I meant, I don't know. I mean, I would be okay for anything right now because I've seen this defense with Micah, with DeMarcus Lawrence, with everybody healthy, and they still look like shit. So I don't know. I mean, get rid of whoever. The only one I agree with you. I think Overshown's playing well.
Can you imagine if Overshown had competent defensive tackles to take on blocks and he'll just be there all the time?
And I know, and that's another thing, bro. I know there was I don't want to. We text to each other, but I do want to say they do have heart, and I think these guys are playing their asses off. They're just not that good. You get what I'm saying? There's a difference between being talented and then having hard. They're talented. Obviously, they're in the NFL, but I meant they're playing, man. They're trying. They're doing everything they can, especially that defense. That's what upset me, is because I really saw them. And then, when you give them that short field and that 38-yard, that was embarrassing how they just ran down our throats. I get it. You know what I mean? But you also have a defense.
Look at the circumstances.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I get it. Listen, I get it. And the more I review tape and watch this film and notice how many guys are out, and look, the defense, yeah, you can blame the defense for, the fact that 27 points got it done, but it's like but how many times did they put together this long sustained drive? Maybe twice, you know what I mean? Like, so there wasn't a lot of real estate behind the defense to let up all those points. But again, the wheels just feel like they've come off completely. It feels like a broken team and a broken system. Jerry Jones, like I said, he can't get out of his own way. He won't shut the hell up. He went out there and said, like, I remember this feeling. Michael Irvin was so upset, and he went off and won 3 Super Bowls, and we got a lot of Michael Irvins in that locker room. No, you don't. No, you don't, bro. In fact, there's not one Michael Irvin in that locker room right now. I don't think Michael Irvin puts more effort into his fucking Twitter videos pissed off than any of those guys that are in the locker room. And we've had this talk before. We've been doing this podcast since 2020, right? Absolutely. We've had this, who's the guy? And who was the most vocal guy a couple years back? Somebody we brought in from the outside, right? So how is that, like, even, and it's happening this year too with the Jets, as a matter of fact.
I heard that, yeah.
It took Devontae Adams to open up his mouth, and he said, he's like, I'm not sure if I have a pot to piss in right now when it comes to talking about this team. I've been here for 5 minutes. But he said, nah, you know what? Fuck that. I have to say something, because if this is the culture right now, nothing's going to change. So who is the guy on this Dallas Cowboys roster that can provide that? Like, and I'm telling you right now, if any of these Cowboys are listening and watching, I don't care if you've been there for 5 minutes or 5 years. If you feel the need to step up and say, what the fuck is going on right now, do it. Nobody's going to tell you nothing. Nobody's going to be like, I can't believe he spoke up. No. We're all rooting for it. So a guy like Demarion Overshown, who lost last year due to injury and now is playing his balls off now, if that dude stepped up in the locker room and said, listen, you motherfuckers, start making tackles, stop missing assignments, and let's get this shit right, nobody would say nothing. Nobody would be like, I can't believe it, he's only in 2 years. Screw that guy. No. We would embrace that shit. We need that shit. We have nobody that does that. It ain't Micah. He's saying it on his podcast right now on a Players' Day Off. That's where he's saying it. He ain't saying it here. And I'm not about to be like, oh, who am I to talk about what these guys do on their day off? They could be doing so many worse things. You're right, bro. But stop. Just knock this shit off. I want, you know what might send a little bit of a shockwave through Cowboys Nation right now? If Micah Parsons came out today and said, no podcast, guys, I got to get back to work. Like, fuck all this shit, right? I got to get back on the field, get healthy, get right, lead this team like the leader I am. That shit would fly with a lot of Cowboys fans. But the fact that he's going to go on Bleacher Report later on and say, reacting to the Cowboys loss. Like, nobody wants to fucking hear you talk about a loss that you had nothing to do with.
I got something to say about, first of all, the what they need to work on with our defensive backs, but is tackling.
Yeah,
some of the worst tackling I've ever seen.
I know,
and I don't get that. If you want to say that's where they're not stepping up and hitting somebody, or maybe they're just never been good tacklers and they shouldn't be in that position. But besides all that, going back to Micah Parsons, I can guarantee you that if we won at least 1 or 2 of those games, he would have been back already. I think he's thinking of his injury, and if we could get, why would he come back on a team that's not going to make the playoffs, that he's going to risk an injury for? Why would he? So a high ankle sprain. I mean, first of all, him and Lawrence, why don't we put him on IR? If they're going to be gone for 4 fucking weeks now,
that was a massive tweet I put out there. Was why. Because they're like, and a couple people defended it, and they're like, well, high ankles are tricky. I was like, you never in a million years would have think Oh, he'll be back in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, name me another player that came back that quick. He's not a robot. He's not some kind of new tech, right? He is a man. He's a human being. He's a professional athlete. That shit takes time. So why not put him on IR like they did D-Law? Why not? But again, that's them just saying, well, if we do that, we got to make a corresponding move. And what if we bring somebody up from the practice squad and he's actually really good? And then what? Then we got to pay him too. Like, these guys are just, they're not thinking football. They're thinking financials. And that's a big, big problem. And it sucks because it's never going to fucking change. As long as Jerry Jones is alive and his heart is beating and his fucking good for nothing son.
That's all speculation.
But it's not speculation when the proof's in the pudding, bro.
But I meant, no, I really think that they thought Micah could come back. I don't think they did that. They're afraid.
Do they not have a fucking training staff to fucking be like, hey, you know what? Nah.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what is it for a high ankle sprain.
High ankle sprain used to be called a broken leg. Like, you broke your leg.
What is it? But search. What is it? On a Google search? How long does it say you're usually out?
On a normal person, probably like 2 months. But like on an athlete, they're giving you 4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks.
So 4 to 6 weeks is what it says.
Usually, yeah, I've seen it. I
want to say only because in that, for it to be 4 to 6 weeks and them not to high ankle recovery time. Dang, it popped right up. Yeah. 6 to 8 weeks, bro.
A few weeks to several months. That's what I'm getting over here on my Google.
So here we go. So
come on now.
No, wait, I retract what I said then. Because I didn't know it took that long. What I said is Micah would have came back already. No, that takes way too far. He should be on IR.
No shit, and that would open up a roster spot, and it would change a lot. I'm not saying change a lot as far as like wins and losses. It would change.
I don't know what they were really told. I mean, that does, because what I'm saying, that doesn't make sense, Sturch. Yeah, if somebody plays really well, then that only opens the gate for a trade or anything. I mean, it's not.
Well, and again, that's the longest shot hypothetical I can come up with. But what I'm saying is what we've seen. Like, I don't know if you noticed yesterday, but like they're saying on the broadcast, like, CeeDee Lamb is refusing medical treatment, right? He wants to get back out there, and then they show CeeDee Lamb getting stretched out by who? Another player.
I didn't understand that.
What the fuck are we doing?
Well, all right, now this has to do with coaching too. He should have not went back in that fucking game.
Fuck no.
He didn't just drop that. He didn't drop the touchdown from Cooper. He dropped the first down from Cooper too. And every time he got up, he's grabbing his fucking shoulder. It's like, bitch, you're good. You're not that good. You got other NFL receivers on the sideline. Get the fuck out of there. Nobody wants this. You're not Michael Jordan, bro. Like,
and that's
stop.
the thing. Once they got into the red zone, I'm like, this dude wants a touchdown here. It's like, I scored a touchdown with one arm. Like, what? You want a story or do you want to win? Like,
yeah, I mean, that was the conversion, though. He's
well, whatever. But I'm saying they got into the red zone. He came out there and he's just like, oh man, my God.
Yeah,
what the fuck then? What are we doing? Like, what's the point?
And that's coaching should have been like, especially, and the thing with that's what I meant to say too, is not only was it a timeout, but they put Diggs on that touchdown from Kirk Cousins we talked about earlier where it got matched up. Diggs was out of the game.
I know.
And they were like, and he was like, I think he hurt himself or got.
Well,
he went into back in. It's like, fucking leave him out, bro. We just had a good play without him.
He's literally a game time decision based off a calf injury as a cornerback. Yeah. I'm not a doctor, nor am I an NFL cornerback. But guess what? Guess what? Fucking muscle you might need more than any other muscle as a cornerback when you have to run backwards. The calf, right? Yeah. Like this is Mickey Mouse shit, and I truly don't understand. And look. If you look at CeeDee Lamb and the shit that he's trying to do, like, I'm going to come back out there and be a fucking warrior for the team, then what's that say about Dak Prescott then? Because that dude got up, and again, these are one of these things that just blow my mind. If you tweak your hamstring or you have a lower body injury, why are you standing on the sidelines? Okay, why are you there? Get the fuck off.
I've had hamstring injuries, and I can attest where you could stand, but the whole thing is you could walk, and then with some hamstring injuries like mine, as soon as you start, like you're like, oh, I can run. As soon as you start, bro, it's like bang on it fucking kills. So no, I mean, I never had a hamstring injury until I was 43, playing flag football, and I
On the
never
beach.
understood them until I had one. I'm serious. And it's no joke because it's deceiving. So what I'm trying to say is Dak is, you could stand on it. You could do those things, but when you put any kind of pressure to run, that's when that shit kicks in, dude.
Yeah, what do you do for
what
do you do for a hamstring injury? What do you got to do?
Well, there's exercise. It heals on its own, but it's more rehab. So
Yeah, rehab.
One thing.
So get off the fucking sidelines and go rehab.
Like, is lying down and putting your leg on a roller or even a tennis ball, and just keep every day, keep doing it. But it's not gonna heal it right away.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, you got one guy who wants to be out there, one guy who was shut down immediately because he said he felt something pull. So that's either a shitty stretch. It's not a bold take. It's not a bold take. I'm going to say that we're going to be without Dak and CeeDee probably against the Eagles. That's my take. I don't think if CeeDee is like, he's wearing a harness, like, okay, awesome. Like, I just.
And that's the thing with Rush, bro. The difference between Rush now and Rush then. Now, for people that don't remember, Dak Prescott started the season in Dallas playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dak couldn't score a touchdown that game. He was awful. He hurt his finger in the fourth quarter. In came Cooper Rush. The next week, everyone threw the towel in, including Sturch and my brother. I was the only one, if you go back to the episode, that said we were going to beat the Cincinnati Bengals because I did trust Cooper Rush and I knew our defense was playing well. That happened. And when people say that Cooper Rush really didn't beat anyone, not only did they beat the AFC champion, but he beat the Super Bowl champion in a 4-game stretch, the Rams, in a 4-game stretch. Now, but the only difference between that is our defense was playing very well. Yeah. Even when Dak lost to Tampa, our defense was playing well. Dak couldn't just move the ball. It is a different team now. Cooper Rush cannot win a shootout. He can't.
No.
Detroit would run through our team because Cooper Rush will not win a shootout. Okay, that's the problem that we're going to have this time around with Cooper Rush. But now I don't even know if Dak can win a shootout. Dak has not won. The only time Dak has carried this team, and I'll say it again, and won a shootout was last season, Thursday night against Seattle. Yeah. That is the only time. Usually when the defense suffers, Dak follows right behind, or he keeps going. But I mean, he doesn't win. He's not that kind of quarterback.
We got John Machota, who got a quote from Jerry Jones that I'm just reading right now. He's John Machota at The Athletic. This is his quote about Mike McCarthy. I'm good with Mike. I know how hard he works. I like his football mind. I know how good he works. He's got, in my mind, an outstanding coaching record. He's really good with the players. They think highly of him. He's got a lot of fire in his belly. So I'm just giving you this. I like the positives I see. And by the way, frankly, some of the best coaches I've been around, I've gotten to see them when times are bad. Then Jerry brings up fucking Jimmy Johnson, like that means anything. I've had experience of having times when you question things and you're thinking about maybe something different, but I've had good experiences with staying with it. This is fluff. He is a lame duck coach. He has got no contract. There will be no extension. So why are they trying to beat this into the fan base as if there's any shot that Mike McCarthy is back next year? What is the difference? What are we doing? Why?
Well, I'll bring this
what
up.
Are we doing?
I'll bring this up. I meant, look, this last game was the worst game I've seen him coach. Absolutely. I mean, and we're not bringing up there were. Another fourth down that we didn't get and Dak's hamstring was already hurt, which we didn't know, was the pass he threw to Ferguson, where Ferguson was wide open and what's his name? Juwan tipped it.
Oh, Judon, yeah, off the line, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there was the other fourth down we didn't get when Rush's first series when they just threw him in there. That is the first time since the year 2000 that the Dallas Cowboys went for it on fourth down 4 times and didn't make it. Just so you know.
So it's been 24 fucking years.
It's been 24 years since that happened. So, but my thing is though, I kind of liked the iPad thing.
What, slamming an iPad down?
I kind of liked it because you saw this motherfucker cares. Like I'm not like that kind of thing right there there was fire there. There was fire.
Does he care or does that scream, I know I'm about to get fired. I can't fix this? You know, it's not like he's caring
No, I
about
think
this team.
I
He's
think
caring
he
about
knows
his
he called the
wallet.
wrong-
He's going to be
Right.
fired.
I think he knows he called the wrong play. That's what I think. I think he's pissed that he didn't get the first down. I don't think he's thinking, look, the guy's gotten paid. You know, a lot of these guys, he has a Super Bowl. You know, I think he cares more about his legacy than he does what I'm trying to say is, getting more money or getting renewed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, that team that beat the Cowboys, Dak's rookie year, that Green Bay team, they were in the shitter. They were I think they were 3-5 at one time, if I'm not mistaken. And that team came back, and not only that, they were the wild card and came and beat the number one fucking seed in the Dallas Cowboys. So
it can
McCarthy.
It can be done. We've seen it from this team. We've seen it from other teams. Last year's Packers looked like they were up against the ropes, and all of a sudden they went on a tear. Look, it can happen. I just don't think it can happen with the players that we have on our team right now. And unfortunately, I don't think there's any trade you can make. Will I little Sturch a trade, no matter what it is? Probably for about 5 minutes, and I'm like, yeah, that's right, But is it going to be enough to change this shit, to change the morale, to change the culture of the Cowboys? Probably not, unless you get a kid. Let's not trade for a veteran. Let's trade for a kid who you think might fit the scheme for years, not just now. You want to do that, and maybe I'll get excited about that. But if you add a veteran right now and saying this will help, it won't. It won't.
Bro, the only players that are good enough that can do that, no one's going to trade.
Right.
So just
even if teams are,
I mean?
Like I said,
unless you offer them 10 first-round picks,
right? And I started to think outside the box. When the Rams were looking like shit, I was like, you know what? There is a shot that they trade off fucking Cooper Kupp, right? And then all of a sudden they rattle off some wins because everybody's healthy and there's no more rumors about Cooper Kupp, right? So the rumors are going to shut down early. There are people out there that will be at least the GMs are willing to trade away, but they're just not difference makers in the sense that the Cowboys need right now. And
and I still say that the last 3 weeks, the reason our offense has sputtered is because of Dak. I don't think I'll still say, and our running game hasn't been obviously. But you saw when Rico Dowdle. Dowdle did pretty damn good yesterday.
12 carries, 75 yards.
Yeah, I'm just saying though. It's we had over 100 yards, didn't we? Rushing,
yeah, because you had Dak Prescott. You had 137 on the ground.
Yeah, it was a little better than it has been, but.
It took 2 quarterbacks to get to 241 yards passing.
I know. It's so bad.
Bro.
My whole thing though is I would be more concerned with getting defensive pieces than offensive right now, because whether you get a Cooper Kupp or not, it doesn't matter, man.
I'm only going based off of history. In 2018, they traded for Amari Cooper,
but we had a good defense. That's what I keep trying to tell you.
Yeah,
that's the difference. Our defense was stellar, bro.
Yeah.
We had one of the best defenses in the NFL that year.
Well,
and then that was the big deal, remember? Because then we went to the Rams and got shellacked.
Well, we couldn't stop the run
because of our defense, but they got ran over in that game. But I'm just saying though, our defense carried us. That's the one when DeMarcus Lawrence said, "Oh, we're just tired after that game."
No, I know. I remember the podcast after.
I seriously think our defense has played better the last 2 weeks. I think they played better against the Niners.
All things considered, with injuries and everything like that, and bad field positions, they have. Right? We couldn't get home. We couldn't get home with 4. We couldn't get home. We couldn't get home with 4. Carl Lawson came in with 4, sacked him twice.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, all right, let's go. But
here's the deal: we can win with Cooper Rush right now. Okay, but the only way to do that is hold the opposing offense to under 20 points. That is the only way to do that. Because if it goes over that, they're going to lose.
And what you do is, in that sense, in that same breath, the only way you keep a team under 20 with the players that we have there right now is that you keep punting the ball and pinning them deep. That's it. Don't fucking go for it on your own 50. Don't try to kick a 70-yard field goal because you think you got the leg for it. make a team drive on you. And I'm telling you right now, this defense can probably hold their own to an extent right now with longer drives. All right.
Yeah.
These boom, boom plays that are happening as soon as we give them the ball on the fucking 30, that ain't happening. That ain't it. You know, so I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that.
So we go back to those games with Cooper Rush. What he did well, and I'll bring it up, was the time of possession. Remember, he won every single one.
It was ball control. Absolutely.
So that's another thing. Like, just sustaining drives, even getting a field goal if you can. But you're right. You don't go for it. 4th and 1. I mean, you want to go for even in our own territory. We shouldn't go for it at all. I mean, maybe if we're on the 1 yard line on the goal line or something.
Yeah, because then the other team needs to go 99 fucking yards. So fine.
But I'm saying, even if they're on the 35 and it's 4th and 1 on the opponent's 35 and it's 4th and 1.
Kick the fucking field goal.
Kick the field goal. Take the points, unless we're losing badly.
You know,
obviously.
it's so funny. It's so funny you mentioned that because I was watching. What game was I watching yesterday? One of the games. It was maybe the Rams game or one of the games. I was like, it was like 4th and I was like, you got to kick the field goal. No, they were going for it, and I was like, yeah, you know what? This is the right move. This is the right move. And I looked at my dad. I was like, if this is the Cowboys, I'm screaming, kick the field goal.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
For any other team outside the Cowboys, yeah, go for it. Fuck it. All the analytics tell you to do it.
You know what drive of the whole game bothered me the most? Actually, there were 2 drives that bothered me on our offense. That bothered me the most. The one before the half, when Dak got the ball with a minute and change left.
Couldn't do shit.
And could not get to the 50 fucking yard line. Are you kidding me? That's even Greg Olson's like, they just got to get right next to that 50, 49. And then you couldn't get there. That ball, dude, that really bothered me. They're not spiking the ball after a first down. You're running up. You're letting all the time tick away. That was fucking terrible. And the second one was actually on Cooper Rush. That last drive, he got the ball back with 4 minutes or 3.5 minutes. And they just nonchalantly drive down the field and score a touchdown, which is great. But they could have stopped some clock there.
100%.
And they didn't.
Nope.
I mean, that's once again.
But
that's
isn't that wild, though? If you look at the Cowboys as constructed right now, with a guy like a Brandon Aubrey who can legitimately kick a 60-yarder when needed, right? So, like, if you can get to the logo and he can kick it and fucking nail it.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy to think that if you just sat on every touchback, like make every kick a touchback, unless it's short and then you have to take it. But like if it's a touchback, you have to go 20 yards, 25 yards of offense to get points.
Yeah.
Not every team can say that, right?
Nope.
They don't have the kicker like we do. There's a weapon on our special teams unit in which we can score points at will. You want to win a game? We've all seen it. I think it was my guy Chris Boniel beat the Packers in 95, 21-0 on 7 fucking field goals because we knew we had a unit as a kicker, right? So we have that now. And you can't go those 20 yards. And again, Kevontae Turpin, I do like his speed. He was a non-factor yesterday as a wide receiver, right? Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, that was your plug to the fan base over the summer. Well, Turpin's been taking a lot of reps as wide receiver. Yeah, well then, if you're gonna run a jet sweep, run it to the fastest guy you got. Yeah. And you don't give it to CeeDee Lamb, who's gonna try to juke and jive, and it's like, it ain't gonna work, right? So again, and 95% of the time, and we've said this, and my dad says it, we all say it. If you take that ball out and you try to return it on a kickoff, 95% of the time there's going to be a holding call. So it's like, where is the divide?
That's so true.
It's so shitty. Bro. Anyway.
And the thing with Turpin too is I was a little upset when he was tired and took himself out of the game.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
At this point of the season, bro, you got it. Come on, man.
Yeah, it's
like you're out of. How the fuck are you out of shape?
That's culture. That's culture. That is absolute coaching and culture. To let him come out. If I'm the coach, I'm like,
I kind of like. I'll be honest with you, buddy. I kind of like that he took himself out. I'm just shocked that he did. Like, I'm just shocked that happened. I thought he didn't even get hit.
Things like that. That kind of shit might have cost Anthony Richardson a career because you're checking out. Like,
no, I hear that.
Miss me with all that shit. But I will say, look, as we wind down, it is Eagle Week, right? It's the first, literally the second division game that we have all season. And that's the thing. If the Cowboys would have got this one, if they would have stole this one in Atlanta, you would have been 4-4 looking at 5 more divisional games. And you're like, okay, you know what? those are the games you got to win, right? But now you're 3-5. You're 2 games under 500. You're 3.5 behind first place in the NFC East, in which the only way to win this or get to the playoffs this year in the NFC East is to win the division. We're not going to compete with the North or the West, right? So, like, you got to win the division. So here come the division games. You're now in a 3-5 hole. So now you get to the Eagles. Saquon's running his balls off. A.J. Brown gets hurt. He might miss the game. But again, Devonta Smith, he looks like he could be wide receiver 1 on any team, including ours, right? So when you look at Philly now as to what they're doing, they're 6-2. The Cowboys are 3-5. It's a 3-game difference. If there was any shot at all to be relevant in the fall and the winter, it would have to start here. And Keith, does it start here? Do we stand a fucking chance against the Eagles?
I mean, you called me 3 times for taking the Cowboys over Atlanta. Okay.
I was just frustration talking.
And I never said anything to you guys that you picked the Niners, us to beat the Niners. By the way, I just
it's because Kittle wore the shirt. So
I mean, and technically you are out of it. Just so you know, I'm going to leak some of our text messages.
Go ahead, fuck it.
When it was 14-3, this guy, it's fucking over. I'm you picking us to win. We suck. And then as soon as we get back in the game, let's go, baby. He's right back in there.
Yeah, of course.
Gave up like 5 times during that game.
That is the day in the life of a Cowboys fan named Dave Sturchio. That is
exactly.
Listen, I will throw, because I know the MO, man. If you're not up, if this team isn't up, it is going to be tough sledding. Considering the fact that we haven't seen him.
Game, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not an ounce of me that says like that game was out of reach.
The 49er game.
Yeah, listen, we could have won all the fucking games we lost this year. Obviously, not all of them. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, the ones that got away, they get away, and it's, like, forever gone. But, like, this team could instead of 3-5, could be 5-3. You want to give them a loss to the Saints, even if it's a bad day? A loss to the Ravens, a bad day?
Loss to the Lions. Lions and Saints are legit. Ravens, we could have maybe pulled that out, maybe.
So, but anyway. All I'm saying is, the team, I don't think that the 3-5 Cowboys are indicative of who they are. And now in come the Philadelphia Eagles back at home, in which the last couple games at home have not gone our way. All signs to me on a Monday, we won't know shit until Wednesday, Thursday, Friday when these guys start practicing and there's an MRI result. But if I had a gun to my head, I'm saying it's Cooper Rush. And if it's Cooper Rush, it's probably not CeeDee Lamb either. So it's like, man, oh man, like, can you run with a team like Philly right now? And look, Philly has shot themselves in the foot. Sirianni's a fucking putz. I don't care what anybody says. All the 2-point conversions that he was going for yesterday almost cost him the game because he's just, I'm the smartest guy. Watch this, and all these 2-point conversions. None of it makes sense. None of it.
Before we get, but you just brought something up that I wanted to talk about. Why did we go for 2 on that last touchdown?
Why did we go for 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, because analytics will tell you if you're gonna have to go for 2 on the first one. But
we didn't have to.
No shit. But
no, at all.
Well, no, they would have had to because if they didn't go for
remember they missed the extra point.
Right. Yeah. So that's Dallas Cowboy football.
I don't understand. I'm like, why are we going for 2? Like,
I wish I had an answer. I really did. And normally I do.
Right or no?
No, you're fucking. Of course, you're right. That's with all these teams that are going for 2. That's like any team.
Did they think we were still down by 15?
Would it surprise you? Would it surprise you?
That's huge.
Would it surprise you if they came out and said, you know what? We just didn't know the score. It's like, oh, all right. That makes sense. Like, it would not surprise me at all. I'd be like, yeah, no, I get it. This is on brand right now.
We were down by 14. We scored a touchdown in that Atlanta game, and we went for 2. Like,
get seeded the ball.
We have the most automatic kicker in the NFL. He kicked a field goal because we're going for it. If we get the onside kick, we're going for the tie. Or if you want to go for the 2 for the win, then fine.
It didn't it feel like, did you at all feel like, hey, wait a minute, who's the team that we beat when we had that onside kick in 2020? It was fucking Atlanta. And I'm like,
yeah, dude, I swear to God, I thought that. I was like, you know what made me think of it? The watermelon. When I saw the ball as a watermelon, I'm like, oh shit,
yeah.
What if it happened
and
again?
I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna do it again. The fucking Falcons are gonna fucking all jump into traffic. They're gonna be like, we lost twice to 2 onside kick. And of course, leave it up to the broadcast. Like, there's been only 2 onside kick recoveries this year. and one of them have been the Cowboys. And I'm like, oh, baby.
I know, we're all excited.
Yeah, it's like, it's so stupid. I'm me for thinking that. And even when they didn't recover
No, bro, that's stupid. Look, man.
I didn't even get mad when they didn't recover it. I was like, okay, just take the fucking knee. Let's get the fuck out of here.
That's how life is. That's how the universe is, bro.
I
like
know.
when you think about, you hear shit that happens like that, because then you would see the stat. What would be playing on SportsCenter later? We just want to take you back to 2020 when they show the same fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
100%. Dude, you don't understand. I'm a sick, twisted Cowboys fan where I'm like, if it's going to happen against any team, it's going to happen against this one because it already happened once upon a time.
Yeah.
I used to say the same shit. If the Cowboys, I'm sick. If the Cowboys start 0-2 in any season, I'm just like, well, doesn't matter. 92, they won the fucking Super Bowl. It has nothing to do with nothing. And I'm just like sitting here like holding on to a hope and a dream. So with that hope and a dream, Keith, are we going to get the shit kicked out of us on Sunday? We're back home. Cooper Rush, more than likely the quarterback. I don't know at this point, but
I don't think it. Honestly, right now I prefer Rush. I know. I prefer him. Not having CeeDee Lamb is huge. But you know what people can realize with Cooper Rush once again, and I'll bring this up because I brought it up last time when Cooper Rush took over. The receivers he's going to be playing with, he plays with on the practice squad, and he plays with the second team offense a lot. So they kind of know each other.
I know, but that's such a fucking you thing to say. Like they know each other, so they're going to play better. It's like,
we'll see.
The Philadelphia Eagles are going to say,
the one thing that makes a quarterback great is his relationship with a receiver, knowing where he's going to be, knowing how that receiver runs his routes, those type of things. Now. The only difference is the Eagles' defense is not Atlanta's defense. They can sack the quarterback.
Of course they can.
So that's the thing. That's Cooper Rush. It's like I said. It's not going to be a easy, especially if we don't have our star wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb. Defensively, I mean, that's our issue. Okay.
Yeah.
That's our issue. Once again, I will say if we keep the Eagles under 20 points, we will win this game.
So that would say that Cooper Rush is capable of 21 or
more. Or a turnover for us, or something that goes in our way.
Maybe we get fucking Bland back.
Well, hold on. I got to make a call. All right. Our team on Sunday, they were so excited over a fucking fumble recovery that they celebrated in the end zone, which other teams do, and I get it. But it's been so long for us to have a turnover at an impactful time in the game, I should say, which that was. They stopped them. That they did this whole thing. They didn't know, and then they do a bowling thing, and it's like, guys, get the fuck off the field.
How much is that rehearsed?
And then we go out, and we're out. We lose. We turn the ball over on 4th down. And then the Falcons get the ball and they score a touchdown. Yeah, good for your little bowling skit, guys. Stop with that shit.
Welcome to Dallas Cowboy football. Look, I don't think with or without Dak, with or without CeeDee, even if Dak and CeeDee Lamb are lining up against the Eagles at home, there's no way I'm picking the Cowboys to win this game. None. I don't think. I don't want to say, like, I looked up and down the schedule. And yeah, does optimistic Sturch come out sometimes and say, if they could just rattle off 3 here and they'll be fucking 6-5 headed into the Giants game Thanksgiving, things are different. I don't see it, man. And like the Texans play like shit the other night, right? But they're going to get their guys back, right? And look at the GMs across the board who are adding talent when it's needed. The Lions are about to make a trade for a pass rusher. Why? Because they lost their pass rusher. The Cowboys are not the team to do that. They're just not going to add guys when we need it, right? Like, oh, you lost this guy for an extended period of time? You should probably add one. They didn't add a corner when they realized Bland went down. They're like, we like our guys. I got duped by Jesse Holley saying that he talked to fucking Al Harris and said Carson's the next second coming of Christ. And all of a sudden, this guy can't tackle for shit either. So it's like, I've never seen so many missed tackles. Think about the negative yards these guys would have accumulated if they make that first stop. Just can't do it. That's fundamentals. That's inexcusable Mickey Mouse Pop Warner shit to not make a tackle. Stop going for the big boom, right? Like, no. Wrap up, bring him down, grab his shoelaces, grab his socks. I don't give a fuck. Just grab his fucking Achilles. I don't give a shit. Put him on the ground. Like, it's not hard.
Help is coming.
Huh?
Like, if you could just hold on to the guy, hope is coming.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If you just bottle them up for a half a second, these
Yeah.
missed tackles are coming in a time where when they miss, there ain't nobody around. You know what I mean? Like there's nobody else around. So listen, man, tough sledding for the Cowboys. 3-5. We'll see what happens this week. There's a lot
Just so everyone's aware, too, we've lost as many games as we have the last 2 seasons already.
and it's literally November 4th, right? So, look, man, we'll see what happens. Obviously, you know, we'll be here every week regardless.
Also, I know, not to keep our hopes up maybe a little bit. You know, they had an extra game and an extra playoff game, and Packers got in. I believe they were 9-8.
Yeah,
when they beat our 12-5 team. So
listen, there is a way and a method to 9-8. There is, because I looked at the schedule yesterday, and yeah, I was all like, you know, I'm amazed. And like, it could be 2018 all over again. Like I'm looking at the schedule, and there is a path to win some games for the rest of the way. But again, if they keep putting out what they're putting out every week, and they keep doing this shit, and we just don't seem to get any injuries back. Like all this hope that Jerry Jones was hanging on. Well, we're getting guys back. They're going to come up. It's going to feel like a new acquisition. And I'm like, no, it's not, because they're not coming back, Jerry. Like that's the problem. Dak has been quoted to say he'll do everything in his power to be there and be out there this week. No. We saw this once before with the lat or the rib or the
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I want him to take a break right now.
Maybe he needs a hard fucking reset. And maybe again, it sounds stupid, but let's just get back to 500. You know, let's get back to 500. And the way you do that is if you win your first game at home for this season, right? Mm-hmm. And then you do it again on Monday Night Football against CJ Stroud. And I get it. Like the Texans are good, but again, get something rolling. I don't know if
has Hurts ever beat us in our stadium?
I don't know. I never again. 2 years ago, me and Brett were there on Monday Night Football, and we fucking stomped them out.
And we beat them last year.
Again, man, by the time, you know, we had turnovers after turnovers and takeaways and opportunities, and all this shit doesn't exist right now with this team, and that's the shitty part, because you're looking at it, you're like, how can we turn this around? You turn the ball over. We got one yesterday, and I thought for sure, I was like, you know what?
Oh, we got one? We got a turnover? I didn't know that. What was it?
It was a sack fumble, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. How? What did we do after we got the fumble?
Oh, we took it to the fucking end of and did bowling.
Oh, okay. Thanks. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I know. You just brought it up. Anyway, dude, fuck this team. There's so many times I'm just like, I wish I was a fan of anybody else at this point.
I bring this up, and it works the opposite too, which kind of sucks too, is, you know, confidence is so big in this game. Washington has it right now. You know, even like KC needs it, but KC really has it, and they got their eyes on fucking going undefeated right now. So that confidence is really going. Then the opposite can happen, where you take a team like us, how they're playing as a group, where if one bad thing happens to them, automatically they think, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
And then it keeps happening.
We're circling the wagons. We're circling the wagons.
That's how bad teams work. So it's going to be interesting to see if, and this is on coaching again, you know, to get the team up and talk to the players, and this is on the team itself, but let's see how they respond.
Let's see. And shout out to all you people that said running backs don't matter, because we have no running game, but yet now you're clamoring for a new fucking running back from Boise State. So I don't want to hear any of that shit, by the way. It's so stupid. They're like, we got to get this guy. Like, yeah, last time we drafted a running back in the first round, you crucified us. So let's not try to repeat history. Anyway, for Dave Sturchio, Keith Ernst, I mean, did you even make a call? Like, are we winning or losing?
Oh, sorry. Well, I said if we hold them under 20.
Can they? All right, so will they? Will they hold them to under 20 points?
First home win. You know what? I'm going to go with them.
Bold. Good for you, man.
And I'm not just saying that. I meant, here's the thing, guys. If I had a gun to my head, obviously I wouldn't go for them, because you go with the more. But I think there's a good enough chance if our defense can step up in this game. I do.
Listen, it would be very.
I think you're going to see a different offense. You're going to see. It's going to be interesting. Just Look at that Bengals game. That's all I got to say. But our defense played a lot better then. So that I'm more worried about our defense than I am our offense in this game.
And we will see about Bland. We'll see about Micah. We'll see about all these guys that are potentially coming back. And, keep riding the highs of watching Overshawn develop, because he's going to be a good player in this league. So there is a couple of little glimmers of like, those guys are okay, but we all know the wheels have kind of, we're kind of just like, it's one of those bad wheels. It's like a shopping cart at Walmart. You know what I mean? Like there's always that one wheel that just like spins in fucking place and nobody knows what's happening. But anyway, for Dave Sturchio Keith Ernst, he's got the Cowboys with the first home win of the season. I got the Cowboys dropping a 3-6 and hopefully firing McCarthy. I'll just say fire McCarthy every week until it happens. But it won't. It won't. So that'll do it. Good night, everybody. Let's go Cowboys.
Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boys Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Whatever.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!